Good. All right, go ahead and ground through the sitting bones. Sit nice and tall, spine nice and straight, chin parallel to the floor. And go ahead and begin Kapalabhati at your own rhythm. Try to focus on quality over quantity here.
Asato
Sahana Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karvavahe Tejasvinavaditamastu Ma Vidvishavahe. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Now you can begin whatever pranayama exercise you would like to do now. You can do Nadi Shodhanam, you can move into Makrasana, you can do 2 to 1 deep breathing, whichever you would prefer.
Do you need the comments or you have them?
I think I got it, yeah. I'm terrible at doing that stuff.
You're not terrible.
Hello, everyone. Hello, Darden. Hello, Linda. Hello, Ruth. And hello, Lisa. Whatever practice that you're choosing to do, make sure that you're trying to refine the breath as much as possible. So try to make that breath as subtle as you can possibly get it. Go ahead and finish up whatever round you're on. You need to finish out. When you're ready, go ahead and bring the right thumb 6 inches in front of the gaze and bring the left thumb 6 inches behind it. Focus on the front thumb, seeing 2 thumbs behind, and alternating back and forth between the two. And again, while we're here, keep the spine erect and straight, chin parallel to the floor, and really work on refining that breath. And go ahead and release the hands down. And close the eyes. When we open them, I want you to pretend that there is an imaginary ruler horizontally in front of the gaze. 1 being at the far left of the room, 12 being at the far right of the room. Go ahead and open them. Bring the eyes to 1. Roll them smoothly across the ruler to the 12, and then back to the 1, alternating back and forth between the 2. You can vary the speed here, but try to keep the movement as fluid and as smooth as possible. Being mindful of any differences here. If you change the speed, does it appear to be more jerky, more choppy? And the next time the eyes approach the center mark, go ahead and blink and shut them. Now we're going to flip that ruler vertically, 1 being at the far top of the room, 12 being at the very bottom of the room. Go ahead and open them, bring the gaze to the 1, rolling it down the ruler to the 12, and then back and forth between the 2. Really trying to be as fluid and as smooth as possible here. The next time the eyes approach the center point, go ahead, blink and shut the eyes. Go ahead and allow the eyes to soften to the back of the skull. Bring the hands together in a praying position. Rub them together up and down, creating lots of heat, lots of energy. You feel that heat build up. Go ahead and cup the palms over the eyes, allowing the eyes to absorb all of the heat, all of the energy. As that heat begins to dissipate, go ahead and gently rub the eye sockets, maybe the temples, the cheeks, any other area that needs a little love right now. Now we're going to work with the neck. So again, we're going to apply the same things that we did with the eyes. We're going to start with a horizontal plane. So we're going to bring the gaze to the far left of the room, rolling it across to the far right, keeping the chin parallel to the floor. Just isolating the head here, getting some movement in the neck. Back and forth between the 2. Same thing that applies, you can vary the speed. I would keep it rather slow though, but just try to make it as fluid as possible. Try to keep that length in the spine, sit nice and tall, nice and straight. And just going back and forth between the 2. Next time the gaze approaches the center, go ahead and pause. Now we're going to flip that movement vertically. So we're going to draw the chin up towards the ceiling, and then drop the chin down towards the chest. Back and forth between the 2. Again, as controlled as possible, as fluid as possible. Try to get a good stretch in the neck here. And next time the head approaches that neutral position, Now we're going to actually tilt the head, so we're drawing the right ear towards the right shoulder, and then coming up and over and drawing the left ear to the left shoulder. Trying to keep the head in the same plane as the torso. Just trying to lean forward or lean backwards with the head. And next time you come to that neutral position, go ahead and you can release the hands down to the sides, or you can keep the hands on the knees, whatever is your preference here. We're just going to do some nice slow shoulder rolls. We're going to lift the shoulders up, roll them forward, drop them down. Just repeat. Lifting and rolling. Really focusing on looping up the joints here. Shoulders may be a little stiff. There was a lot of planks, side planks last night. Go ahead and finish up. Then go ahead and extend the legs out. You can come a little shake and tuck away for a while. And just come into Paschimottanasana for a few breaths. I'm going to stay here for a couple of minutes.
Nice. Thank you.
While you're here again, try to refine the breath as much as possible. Really try to make it as subtle as you can. Almost to the point where you can't even feel it moving in and out of the nostrils. Try to deepen and lengthen it so much that you don't really notice the stomach rising and falling.
Better than Tuesday. You watch Tuesday's class?
Mm-mm.
I farted out loud. It's been.
It's Tuesdays. I think we're spoiled. We're used to treats. So now his stomach's like, oh, what's going on? Okay, go ahead and get the blocks handy. Release back up. So I want you to put your right foot on the block, the side of your right foot. Almost come to like a side plank position. I want you to step the left leg over. We're just gonna rise up, come down. So you can have the hand on the hip if you want the hand on the hip. You can have the hand extended up, whichever you may need.
Is your, oh,
Yep, so step up and over, yep,
oh, okay.
yep.
Oh, I see what you said.
Just lift up and then come back down. And try to just hover slightly above the mat. Try not to come all the way down onto the mat. You're trying to keep the body lifted the entire time. We're just going up and down. And next time you lift up and you get that bent leg about thigh parallel to the floor, go ahead and just kind of stay there, hold it there. Then if you can, go ahead and reach that left arm up and over. Come to a nice little side stretch. The palm facing the floor. Stay here for 27, 26, 25, 24, 23, 22, 21, 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Go ahead and release down. I want you to step that bent leg over to where it's now beside, but keep that extended leg on the block. I just want you to come into like a forward fold here. Try to keep the left leg as tight into the torso as you possibly can. Try not to let it just kind of dangle or be loose. Stay there for a few breaths. And staying with that breath, refining that breath throughout the practice. Go ahead and release back up. So draw that leg in. Now extend the left leg out on the block. We're going to do the same thing the opposite side. So now we're going to put the left leg on the block, step the right leg up and over, and rotate to the left side and just come up and down. Can you put the hand on the hip if you want more support? You can extend the hand up overhead. Nice. I guess as much as possible, you definitely want to keep that extended foot and the hand in the same line. Try to maybe joint stack if you can get the elbow and the wrist underneath the shoulder. When you lift up, you just want to lift up enough to where the head, torso, and extended leg are in one line. So just enough to kind of get level there. You don't have to come up too much. And then next time that you press up and you get that extended, that bent leg parallel to the floor, go ahead and just hold there. You can reach the arm up and over if you would like to get a nice little side stretch while we're here. Yeah, the capsule will start at 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Go ahead and release. Same thing, step that leg back over to where it's on the side and just come to a nice forward fold. You can try to keep that bent leg as tight as you can into the torso. And just come forward.
I like that. I've never tried it that way on a block before.
Lift it up like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do that when I do the block.
I'm not sure if it makes it easier or makes it a little more difficult, but it definitely adds something to it.
Mhm.
Yeah. And again, just work on really refining that breath. Try to get the reins on it. Start to get active. The breath tends to try to get away from us. So try to put the reins on, bring it back to a subtle, deep, controlled breath. So you can release from that. You put both the blocks now into the mat about hip distance apart. And come up with both feet. I'm just going to press up. Purvotadasana. Come back down. So now we're going to alternate back and forth. So press up. It's that reverse tabletop. But then come down. And just going back and forth between the two. You can keep the chin tucked into the chest. If your neck's feeling a little reserved, or you can allow the head to flop back. It's up to you. You can, as much as possible, try to keep the wrists and elbows underneath the shoulders. Try to open those shoulder heads up if you can. Try to open that chest when you come up. Try to really press that pelvis up towards the ceiling. Do that at your own pace. If you want, while you're here, you can try to sync the breath to the movement. So as you press up and lift that pelvis towards the ceiling, inhale, And as the pelvis drops back down towards the mat, go ahead and exhale. Next time you press up, press and hold. Try to really press that pelvis towards the ceiling, much as you can. Really press up. Let's hold it for 10, 9, 8, really press, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, go ahead and release, good job. All right, now keep those feet on the blocks. I want you to take them a little bit wider, so maybe to where the outside of the block is flush with the outside of the mat. Keep the feet, same position here, knees bent, and just try to come forward here. So as much as possible, you can grab the wrist, you can grab the front of the blocks, whatever you need to get a little bit of leverage here. And again, try to keep those knees nice and tight, try not to let them like flop down, so try to keep them nice and close into the torso. Just walk it forward as much as you can. I'm just going to stay here for a few breaths. I want you to stay there, but go ahead and place the right hand, face palm down in the mat in between the feet. Then reach the left hand back around and just do a nice little spinal twist here. Stay with that breath. Keep refining that breath throughout the practice. Really try to silence it. Go ahead and come back through center, alternate, put the left hand in between the feet, reach the right hand behind you, or up in the air, whichever. Try to get as deep as a twist as possible. As much as possible, try to keep the feet active here, so really try to keep them pressing down into those blocks. Try to keep the knees in nice and tight. Go ahead and release back to center. I want you to stay in the same position, but But I want you to come to the outside of the feet now. So I actually want you to just kind of roll outside, and I do want you to allow those knees to drop and really open up the hips and the groin here. We're gonna do the same thing. We're just gonna come forward as much as possible. So you can hold on to the blocks, hold on to the feet, maybe just put the hands out in front, walk forward, whatever you need. Come forward as much as possible. And the opposite here, so I really want you to open those knees up as much as possible, so allow them to come as close to the floor as you can now. And again, be present with that breath. Extending those exhalations twice as long if possible than the inhalations. Really refine the breath, make it as subtle, as smooth, as deep as possible. We're going to do that same thing, so we're going to drop the right hand in between the feet, bring the left hand behind, give a nice twist. And then go ahead and release, switch hands, put the left hand in between now, reach the right hand behind. Again, just come to a nice deep twist. And go ahead and release. Go ahead and remove the blocks. We're going to come back to that tabletop position, but I want you to put the hands now underneath the blocks, now underneath the hands. We'll do the same thing we did earlier. Round the blocks underneath the hands now. We're just going to press up. Try to really draw those shoulders back, open that chest, really lift that pelvis up towards the ceiling, and then drop down. Just going back and forth between the two. As much as you can here, try to joint stack. So if you have to adjust the blocks a little bit to get the wrist, elbows underneath the shoulders, do so. Everyone looks pretty decent.
Is that your stuff?
It is.
It's weird.
It's just the water rolling around in there. Something rolling around.
Probably just brewing up a big fart. And that was in front of me tonight.
Just gotta.
Setting you up for Apanasana. That's gonna be a nice one.
Right?
Do a few more. Really just try to focus on getting quality reps here. So really try to press that pelvis up as high as you can towards the ceiling. Try to really open those shoulders, open that chest as much as possible. Next time you come up, press and hold. Really try to lift that pelvis as high as you can. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, really lift. 4, 3, 2, 1. Go ahead and release. You can move the blocks out of your way. And just go ahead and come forward into Paschimottanasana one more time. Stay here for a couple breaths. Really keep that back straight. Keep the spine long. Keep the chest open. Try not to round off here. Keep the airways as wide open as possible. And really try to refine that breath. And release. So I want you to draw the legs. You might have to come up towards the front of the mat here. So we're going to be doing some spinal rolls. So I just want you to draw the legs in and just get some nice spinal rolls. You might need to put a blanket or something underneath the spine if your spine's kind of bony. Mine looks like a dinosaur, so it kind of hurts sometimes. But just do some spinal rolls. Just keep the knees nice and tight here. Make sure the feet are parallel with one another. Try to keep the knees into the chest as much as possible when you're doing the rolls. Try to keep a nice, tight roll here. Now if you get a couple of those, if you're comfortable, you can stay there. If not, you can roll all the way up into at least a squat. So if you want to just come up to a squat, try to roll all the way up onto the feet. And if you're comfortable doing that, you want to add something else to it, you can come all the way up onto the feet in the squat, and then just come up to a chair, then back down, spine roll. So come all the way up, chair, and back down. couple more. Just a few more. If you're coming all the way up into that chair, really take your time. Don't rush it. Get all of the juice out of the toes. And if you're rolling all the way up, the next time you roll up, go ahead and stay up. Stand up nice and tall. If you're just doing rolls, go ahead and stand in front of the mat. Nice and tall. I want you to hinge forward from the hips and just come down to Asana, just a nice standing forward bend for a few moments. Really keep that spine long here. I want you to go ahead now and grab the elbows with each opposite arm, kind of let the hands dangle here. Lift them up a little bit, maybe like 5 to 6 inches, so lift them up forward a little bit. Just allow that head to really drop and become weightless. Put a bend in the knees here, might help some. Maybe swing a little back and forth to the left, up and down. Really allow that head to be weightless. Check in on the breath while we're here. Okay, so from here you're going to put your hands down. I want you to step that right leg back and come into a nice high lunge. Hands on each side. So yeah, more like a knee type deal. Then from here, I just want you to lift up onto that front foot. Keep a nice bend in it. I'm not shooting for straight here. I want it bent. And just try to lift that back foot, keeping it as straight as possible, toes drawing towards the shin. And then come back down into that high lunge. Lift all the way up. Keep the hands up. Biceps by the ears if you can. And back and forth between the two. Just lifting up, coming down, going back and forth. Really trying to keep that back extended leg as straight as possible. Lifting it as high as you can, keeping those toes drawing in towards the shin. And again, you're shooting for quality, not quantity, so really take your time with each phase of this. Really get nice and deep in that lunge. Really lift that extended foot nice and high. Keep it nice and straight. Stay with the breath here. Really try to make each one of these last few count. So the next time you're coming up and you got that leg lifted, go ahead and swing that leg down parallel to the other foot. And just come nice and low into that Uttanasana, that standing forward bend again. Just take a few resting breaths here. Again, if you want to, after you stretch for a few moments, you can go ahead and bend the knees, grab the elbows, and just kind of release the head. Just take a couple resting breaths here. Go ahead and release the hands down. Now we're going to do the same thing, opposite side. So I believe we stepped the right leg back first last time. So we're going to step the left leg back this time. Come into that nice lunge. Hands up, biceps in towards the ears. And drop the hands down on both sides of the foot. Press up and lift that leg. Really trying to keep it as straight as possible. Really try to keep those toes drawing towards the shin. Again, take your time with each part. Really settle into that lunge. When you lift that leg, lift and hold it for a moment. Stay present with that breath. Again, work on deepening that breath, refining that breath. Making it disappear. Taking out any twitches, any rigidness, any bumps in the breath. Putting it on a loop so there's no pause from the inhalation to the exhalation. It is one continuous breath. So the next time you come into that high lunge, I want you to take the right toes pointed towards the right corner of the mat. Just allow that knee to drop down and open that hip up. Then again, just hinge forward as much as you possibly can. If you come to the forearms, that's fine. If you stay up on the hands, that's fine. You'll know what you need here. Just make sure you're getting a nice stretch in that hip.
Coming forward.
Yep.
Like this.
Yep, perfect, yep. Feeling some tenderness or some soreness, or the stretch may seem intense, try to breathe into those areas that are screaming at you right now. Really draw the inhalation into those areas. And as you exhale, try to release that tension, release that angst. Maybe fall slightly deeper into the pose, slightly deeper into the stretch if the body allows it. Go ahead and walk it back up. Release that leg, the right leg back. Now bring the left leg up into a high lunge. Point the left toes towards the left corner of the mat. Go ahead and allow that knee to open up. And again, just come forward as much as the body allows. Couple more breaths here. Really try to release that hip. Try to open as much as it allows. Go ahead and press up. Release that leg back. Come to all fours position from here, and just go ahead and do 5 cat-cows at your own pace. Again, no need to rush. Really take your time with them. Get the full range of motion. Try to sync the breath with the movement, or not. And when you finish up that 5th set, go ahead and sit on a block. We're going to place the right ankle above the left knee. We're going to draw that in. And just again, we're going to stretch and open that hip.
You left over right here. Right?
Right or left, but if you want to switch it, yeah, we're going to do both, so you pick. We'll do a roll your own here. Use yours. When you got it up again as much as possible, try to draw those toes in towards the shin, keep it active.
Do you have the foot on the floor close to the block as much as you can?
I do, just because I think that almost kind of cheats, honestly. I think there's a certain point where it's like the peak, the height, and I think that's the most difficult, and then if you got it out further, it kind of alleviates some of it, and if you bring it in a little bit more, it actually alleviates some. Really breathe into that hip while you're here. Really open it up. Set that attention, set the awareness in that area. Just breathe into it. Much as possible, keeping that spine nice and tall, nice and straight. Chin parallel to the floor, chest nice and open. Couple more breaths here. Really try to keep those toes active, drawing towards the shin. This protects the knee. You can go ahead and and release that leg. Put both the legs forward now, give them a little bit of a shake, and while you're sitting on the block, go ahead and come into Paschimottanasana one more time. Block makes it a little different. Okay, keeping that spine nice and long. Nice and straight, try not to round, keep that chest open. Just work on refining that breath. And go ahead and release. I'm going to do the same thing. We're going to do that hip opener on the opposite side. And also place, if you had the right leg like I did before, place the left ankle over top of the right knee. Actually, the right thigh, just above the right knee. Draw it in. And again, keeping that foot active, toes drawing towards the shin. Trying to keep that back as straight as you possibly can here. If that means, cheating out a little bit, that's perfectly fine. Just really try to keep that back straight. And really breathe into that hip. Draw that in-breath right to that place that's feeling a little tender right now. Breathe into the tension. Then as you exhale, try to exhale slightly deeper or draw it slightly more into you. Maybe push that knee out a little bit. Then go ahead and release that leg. You can come forward again into Paschimottanasana one more time, just for a couple breaths on the block. So go ahead and remove the block. Stay in the same position though, keep the legs extended forward. So we're going to keep that right leg extended straight, and we're going to draw the left leg in. We're going to come into Janu Shirshasana A. Just hinge forward. If you would like to add something else to that, you can bring the left leg over top, so try to stack the knees here and then come forward. Either or you can do one for a little bit, maybe move into the next, hit a little bit of a different area. Not required, just an option. Vibrates in your knee?
Yes.
Vibrates in your knee, yeah. Again, really try to breathe into those sweet spots. Anything that's feeling juicy right now, just trying to call for your attention. Try to really draw that in-breath into those areas. And as you exhale, try to release the tension that the body's holding in those areas. Try to maybe slip a little deeper into the stretch, into the pose. Maybe you don't move at all, you just feel a little bit more comfortable where you're at. try to focus on breathing into that discomfort. If you want, you can absolutely stay there. If you want to add something else to it, you can draw the right leg in and come into Agni Stambhasana if you would like. Certainly not required.
Are we on the box still?
No, we're off the clock. Sorry about that.
You're good.
I'll let you write it out.
I was like, I don't know about this one.
So goal here, you're trying to stack the ankle on the knee. And you're trying to get those shins as parallel as possible to the short end of the mat and then directly on top of each other. So that's the goal here. If you're like me, that's not right where you're at, but that's the idea of where you're headed for.
Such a good hip stretch though.
Yeah.
I love
Yeah. When I finally got to where I wasn't like
this. Yeah.
this, I
Right?
started to enjoy it. I was like, oh, that's where it's supposed to stretch. Yeah. Before all I thought was like my knee was about to snap.
It's crazy how tight your hips are.
Yeah.
I never really did many hip stretches until like coming here. And I started like with that meditation pillow that was so tall because like my hips were so tight.
Mm-hmm.
I like outgrew my pillow. I was like,
You gotta stretch your pillow.
skulls, yeah, I outstretched my pillow. How about that? Yoga goals.
Yes. We're trying to get off the pole. We're working our way to the floor.
Yeah, working my way to that floor. You know it.
Working our way to the ground. It amazes me how much it varies day to day.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, some days it's just like, I don't know,
Not
it feels
even
super
there.
open. Like there's no reason. Another day it's like, oh my gosh, I
Yeah.
can't feel move. It's nuts.
It is.
The first Paschimottanasana of the day is always eye-opening.
Right.
Wake up, get up, be like, oh my god, I can't even touch my toes.
You're like gonna go right into it. You're like, wait, no.
Yeah. Yep. Just gonna do a couple more breaths here. So really try to make these quality breaths and really try to sink as deep into the pose as you can. Try to breathe into those juicy areas. Really allow them to open. And exhale out any of that attention that is being held in those areas. And go ahead and walk it back up, release the legs out. So now we're going to extend the left leg and we're going to draw that right leg in to Janu Shirshasana A. If you want to stay there for a couple breaths, by all means that's okay. If you want to go ahead and already stack the other leg on top, try to stack the knees and come forward, whichever you're choosing. Oh, that was finally it.
No, that's my foot. Psych.
The saga continues.
Suspense.
After you stay there for a few breaths, if you would like, by all means, move into Agni Sambhasana. Stack the shins, ankle over the knee. Maybe come forward, walk it forward. Maybe walk it to the left a little, walk it to the right a little. You can play with it. And really breathe into that area that is probably screaming or letting you know that it's a little juicy. Really try to draw that in-breath into those areas. And as you exhale, focus on expelling the tension that those areas are holding. Go ahead and walk it back up. Unwind the legs, release. If you would like, I think there's plenty of wall space for everyone. So we're just gonna come up next to the wall. We're gonna extend the legs up the wall, the sitting bones to the bottom. Just extend the arms up here. Just kind of sit for a while. If you don't want to do an azole, you don't have to. I just find it's a little easier. Allows you to kind of relax a little more and just settle into it. Focus on the breathing.
Next to the wall like that, and then go up. There you go. Do it to the last side. And
I needed that because I can never get all the way out.
yeah.
I'm never like close enough, yeah.
Yeah, start with your hip on the wall. All the way. You got this.
It's tough, and especially when you're like on the blanket too, because then you just slide right on the floor. Perfect.
Hands up, right?
Yep, hands up, palms facing in, shoulder distance apart. And just really tune into that breath while we're here. Really refine that breath. Smooth it out. Make sure it is one continuous breath. Put it on a full loop. No pauses between the inhalation or the exhalation. We're going to be here for a little bit, so get comfortable and really settle into it. a good position to really focus on the abdominal breathing. Just really see if you can feel the abdomen rise, the inhalation, and fall with the exhalation. Make sure you're trying to breathe at full capacity, or as full as you're able to at this point. Just a few more breaths here. You can go ahead and release the hands. Find your way back to the mat, or your mat. And when you get there, just go ahead and extend the legs forward on Paschimottanasana for a couple breaths quickly. Not quickly, just a few breaths. Once you've taken a few breaths here, go ahead and come into whatever twist you're most comfortable with. Going either the right side first or the left side first, either or. switch sides. Go ahead and release that. Whatever else you need to do, so if you need to roll up a blanket, so underneath the calves or knees here, go ahead and come flat on the back and prepare for final relaxation. Begin to try to extend the inhalations, extend the exhalations. So follow the breath, observe the breath. And if they're not already, go ahead and close the eyes. I want you to gently bring the awareness to the crown of your head. Allow that awareness to completely fill the space in the crown of the head. And as it is filled completely and totally, watch as this area has become completely and totally relaxed. Now moving down into the forehead space, the temples, space between the brows. Again, filling this place entirely with the awareness. And as you do, watching as it becomes completely and totally relaxed. Now moving into the eyes, the cheeks, the nose, and the mouth. Bringing the awareness and allowing the awareness to fill these areas. And as it does, again watching as they have become completely and totally relaxed. Now bringing the awareness to the ears, to the jawline, to the chin, to the throat. Again, filling those areas entirely with your awareness. And watching as they become completely and totally relaxed. Now moving into the shoulders, the upper arms, the elbow joints, the forearms. Filling these areas entirely with your awareness. And watching as they become completely and totally relaxed. Moving now into the wrists, to the tops of the hands, to the palms, to the thumbs, the index, the middle, the ring, and the pinky finger. Filling these areas entirely with your awareness. and watching as they become completely and totally relaxed. And now moving into the chest, the abdomen, all the internal organs, filling these spaces entirely with your awareness, and again observing that they have become completely and totally relaxed. Moving that awareness now to the upper back, to the middle back, and to the lower back. Filling these spaces entirely with your awareness. Watching as they become completely and totally relaxed. And now moving into the hips, to the pelvis, into the tailbone. Filling these spaces entirely with your awareness. And watching as they become completely and totally relaxed. Moving that awareness now into the buttocks, into the upper legs, the knee joints, the calves and the shins. Filling these spaces entirely again with your awareness. And watching as they become completely and totally relaxed. Finally moving down to the ankles, the tops of the feet, soles of the feet, the heels, the balls of the feet, and all 10 toes. Filling these spaces entirely with your awareness, and again watching as they have become completely and totally relaxed. And now finally just taking a few moments to observe as the body has become completely and totally relaxed from head to toe, and feel as your awareness now completely inhabits the entire body. Observe how weightless the body has become, how refined and quiet the breath has become, and how still and calm the mind has become. And now returning to that breath, allowing the inhalations to lengthen, the exhalations to lengthen, and drawing those in-breaths now into the fingertips, into the toes. And as you breathe into these areas, begin to wiggle them, move them slightly. And then breathing further into the rest of the body. And as you do, allowing it to move into stretch as though it were the first time this morning. And when you are ready, bring the body to a comfortable seated position. You can go ahead and begin whatever meditation practice you're choosing to do. Or maybe just some pranayama. Tvameva Mata Chapita Tvameva Tvameva Bandhus Chasaka Tvameva Tvameva Vidya Dravinam Tvameva Tvameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva. Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinaha Sarve Santu Niramayaha Sarve Bhadrani Pashantu Ma Kaschid Dukkha Bhave. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. May all be happy. May all be healthy. May all experience prosperity in everything. May all be free from suffering. Om, peace, peace, peace. Let me cherish those that God cherishes. Let me forgive those that God forgives. Let me serve those that God serves. Let me love those that God loves. Jai Shri Ram.
Thank you.